The mission of the Workshop School is to provide students with a project-based learning approach which engages students in a meaningful experience. And many of our students need meaning in their lives and need to see something real coming out of school.
So what we're trying to do here with the interdisciplinary projects is trying to identify a real-world problem and then have students begin to solve things.
So about 2/3 of the day they have project blocks, and the academics are integrated into those project blocks. And then we have seminars which are content focused, but when they work well, they actually inform the projects.
We get rid of these false academic distinctions. No one in real life says it's 8:54, now I'm doing social studies, it's 9:34, I've become a scientist. All of these things are linked together.
If you want to do a project that does real work in the world, you have to know something, right? You have to be able to read, you need to be able to write, you have to be able to argue, you have to be able to back things up with facts. They begin to own their own education, and they're proud of it, and they talk about the work that they've done in very powerful ways.
Living in South Philly, things can get reckless. Drug dealers and robbers trying to snatch your necklace. Gunshots going off, kids hiding under the bed.
With each incident, with each tragedy, with each triumph that occurs in the neighborhoods, the communities that the kids live in, how do we begin to make sense of that in school? How do we begin to make sense of that with academic work?
This world has to be fixed. This world has to be changed. This world's so heartbreaking. Who's to blame?
They're constructing short stories and they're constructing poems. They're thinking about the purpose of their writing. They're thinking about the audience they're writing for. They're thinking about how do you communicate your ideas in a powerful fashion.
After we listen to this, do we think the world can change?
The world can change.
How?
Well, you can't change the world, but you can change the world for yourself.
When a student becomes passionate about something, they start asking, how do I write better? How do I conduct research? How do I formulate a good question? How do I go out into the world and try and come up with answers that make sense to me and that I can present to others? Once the student has that passion, once they have the spark, once we've trusted them to do it, we've empowered them in ways that normal school generally does not.
In the Workshop School, students actually get to work with their hands. They get to apply what they learned in English, math, science. They're seeing real life problems and real life applications to help them better themselves to go get a job in the job market. All right, today we're going to teach you how to complete your engines. Everyone needs to put the piston in, complete the torque spec, and check the valve clearance. Now, once we finish the engine, we'll move on to the sustainability card.
I have worked on cars a lot, but sustainability was something new and I would have loved to learn about it, so that's why I'm here.
This is the upperclassmen, so their next step is the real world. So we're teaching them applications that they can take to the real world. So this screws down on top of the rocker arm. And once you finish screwing that down, you put that over top of it to lock it in place. We counsel students. Treat this school like a job. And that's what we do. We treat this like you're working somewhere. Deshaun, where you at with your project?
Right now, I'm close to the end. I'm trying to put the starter on.
This is the last step before the real world. So we give them as much guidance as we can before the real world takes over.
At the core mission, we see the best in our children, and we want an environment that they start to see the best in themselves and know that they have value, and know that they can do real work in the world.
I like this hands-on approach a lot. I mean, it shows that I have a talent and I have skills and I like to prove them.
This school has shown me more possibilities in my future about different colleges and different majors, and by just expanding my mindset.
We're different from other schools in a lot of ways. We trust our students, right? Because they're all amazing. And if you ask them a question that they're interested in, if you ask them to do work that concerns their life, if you ask them to formulate an answer to a problem they've always struggled with, then it produces engagement. And it produces, more importantly, it produces the kind of citizens, the kind of human beings, and the kind of scholars we want for the rest of the world.